I carried a lot of happy memories in my backpack as a child, and equally, there was some emotional baggage that I carried along with that. So there's a mixture of things that I would say that were in my backpack. I think the things that weighed me down when I think about my backpack, especially as a child, were the stuff that was going on in my home life, that I suppose that I felt like I was keeping this big massive secret that the outside world didn't know about, what would happen behind closed doors with my parents. And then it's kind of going out into the world and putting on this big smile and this big front that everything's okay when it wasn't, when I was feeling very sad at times or feeling a bit helpless, like I couldn't do anything to protect my mum in certain situations, but had to go and pretend to everyone that everything was fine at home and kind of you had this perfect kind of life when it was far from that. There was a number of times in my childhood until I would say that my dad left our family home, which then took on a different emotional baggage. But when my dad was at home and kind of what my mum went through and trying to be strong for especially me and my brother, and the fact of just then going off to school and to the outside world and knowing that my mum was left at home full of sadness and hurt and kind of me feeling helpless, like I couldn't do anything in that moment. The additional baggage that I carried is growing up, I had a speech problem, which kind of was also hidden, that I spent a lot of time in speech therapy. And then when I left speech therapy to go into a whole school environment where maybe the teachers and kind of pupils didn't know that. So to be in a classroom and then being asked to speak out loud or communicate was very hard for me. So I kind of would go in my shell or didn't actually know how to form words and sentences sometimes. So I suppose the easiest thing was to always just stay quiet and kind of be in the background because I would feel like a shame or an embarrassment. So there's always that trying to retreat from those certain situations. And then obviously then I couldn't communicate what was then going on in my home environment. So it was kind of this mixture and this frustration always built up in me, but always this front of, oh yeah, I'm happy, I'm fine, everything's positive. I think especially in my early years in kind of from reception, there was this amazing teacher called Miss Tuffin. I will never forget her because I think straight away she'd worked with children before that had speech problems that could see that in me. And so she found a way through music to allow me to express myself and start singing, which allowed me to not think about the speech problems or speech impediment that I had and was allowing me to grow in confidence in that way. And I will never forget how she made me feel. It was kind of that safe kind of feeling and that she understood without kind of making me or pushing me in a certain way to do something that I was very uncomfortable about. And I suppose that's now continued into my adult life because I've always loved music because it does give you that freedom and that expression to communicate in so many different ways. I think sport for me has always been key for so many things, that it gave me confidence and a discipline and a focus away from that school environment and my home environment that I struggled in school. Because of the speech impediment that I had, I always wanted to run away from the awkwardness and how it made me feel. And I think going into a sporting environment with teammates that just allowed me to be me and wanted me to communicate in whichever way that I want, I really gravitated towards that because it really did just make me feel happy and I didn't have to explain or hide anything. It was just, you're here to play football, Alex. Just put on that Arsenal shirt and smile and enjoy it. And I felt that straight away. To be honest, I've always hid my speech problem, and only until a couple of years ago when I released my book. Even it's so, like, I laugh at myself that I sit on TV and now that's my job to talk and communicate with the world. And there's times where, so many times where I stumble or I panic in certain situations that the words are there, but I know that I can't get it out. And I have to go back to all the speech patterns that I learned from speech therapy, how to articulate things in certain ways. And I always hid it because I didn't want anyone to see a weakness in me or kind of use that against me. But I suppose what I didn't know until I actually started speaking about it, how many people go through the same things and feel the same way, and maybe me speaking out about it has given them more confidence, because if I can manage to go on and do the things that I've done throughout my career, or sit and talk in front of millions of people, that they feel that they can get strength from that, and you know, see it as a strength and not a weakness like I did throughout all my childhood and into my adulthood. Yeah. I think in terms of trying to hide things, we kind of paint a perception that everything's perfect, that I'm perfect and I will do my job to this level and you have to be at this standard, where actually nothing in life is perfect. Like, we hold on to a lot of baggage in our lives, and we have things that we need to continuously work on. And because, yes, I've always had a speech impediment, it doesn't go away, and sometimes it's stronger at certain times, but it's showing the world that, yeah, I am going to stumble on my words now and again, but it's how you handle it in that situation. Do I give up or do I crumble? No, I'm going to carry on and I'm going to do my next bit to the best that I can, or just, yeah, showing everyone that you don't have to hide away from everything. I think the amazing thing of me learning all this stuff over the years and now communicating, and I suppose sharing when I've been in those sort of dark places and kind of the triggers, has allowed for friends and family to know maybe when I'm slipping back into that, and knowing that they need to keep checking in. Maybe not just the once, because I'm still going to put on that smile and be like, no, I'm totally okay. But actually to keep asking me, to allow me to then be like, okay, something is going on, I feel a certain way, and maybe I do need some help in that situation. And it's also knowing that I have a support network that absolutely love me and don't want me to keep going back into those dark places and be alone in those moments. I think maybe from the emotional baggage or stuff that I've been through in my life, I think sometimes I can look at family and friends and maybe work colleagues and know that if someone is putting on this big happy front and everything seems great in their life, that maybe there is a little thing that they could be hiding or they could be struggling with. And sometimes it's a way of me just kind of asking a question, maybe away from everyone, not in front of a large group, because some people don't want to share things like that, and just continually to keep asking and checking in, or just letting that person know that, you know, when they are ready to talk and when they are ready to share, you have a safe space in me that's not going to go any further, but I'm here if you need that. The advice that I would give to any young children that feel they have a really heavy backpack is find someone. Doesn't have to be a group, doesn't have to be a parent, but is it that teacher? Is it that best friend? Is it a teammate in a sporting environment that you can have a conversation with and share, and maybe offload some of that baggage? Because when you do offload it, I promise you, it feels great. BBC Children in Need's Heaviest Backpack campaign is so important, because it's showing everyone, it's sharing stories to show that no matter what, you are not alone. Somebody has felt something or been through something that may be able to help you in a certain way. And I hope that maybe me sharing some of my emotional baggage that was in this backpack has a connection to you, to say that it's okay and there's always light, and I want you to find that light.